Hey guys, very quickly, I'm going to learn something beautiful in this class, and that's every singular thing from the beginning to the end about the introduction to cardiovascular system. And of course, under the introduction to cardiovascular system, before we move right, I'd like you to understand that the entirety of this class is brought to you by the Learn Lift app. Oh yes, so within the Learn Lift app, go to your Play Store, your App Store, and you download the app. You have access to your classes there, your upper limb, your lower limb, your entire anatomy, your embryology, your histology, whether it's your cardiovascular system physiology, your blood physiology, your excitable tissues physiology is there, your biochemistries, right? All of them are inside the Learn Lift app. If you are ready and you are good to go, let's go. But also take note that inside the Learn Lift app, you have access to your notes, your CBT, and your past questions. Everything is richly organized for you to succeed. Are you getting it now? But very importantly, there are some of you that may be interested in scholarship opportunities. I want to study abroad. I want to travel abroad. Any scholarship opportunities that are fully funded. Are you getting it now? Just reach out and then you'll be guided on the step-by-step procedure on how to get scholarship opportunities. If you are ready and you are good to go, let's fire down on the introduction to cardiovascular system. What must we know about your cardiovascular system? This is our lesson 1, right, under the introduction to cardiovascular system. So we're going to look interestingly in this class under 2 major areas, right? So we're going to dwell on. The first thing is the definition of cardiovascular system, and number 2 is the heart structure. So what is the definition of cardiovascular system, and what are the heart structures that they want us to know? Better pay attention as we move together. In the definition of cardiovascular system, just go straight. 2 things you should know. Number 1, the cardiovascular system is a closed network. So is it open or it is closed? Closed network. And then it consists of 2 things as well: the heart and the blood vessels. So the cardiovascular system is a closed network consisting of the heart and the blood vessels. What does the heart do? The heart pumps blood into that blood vessel. The blood vessel will in turn carry the blood, right, and then circulate it through the entire part of the body. So you can see that it's more like collaboration that they are doing there. So the cardiovascular system, right, is a closed network consisting of the heart and the blood vessels. What will the heart do? The heart will pump the blood into the blood vessels. The blood vessels will carry the blood and then circulate it through the body, very importantly. Now the question is, what are the functions of the cardiovascular system that they want us to know? 2 things very quickly. Number 1, the cardiovascular system transports oxygen and nutrients to the tissues of the body. So what transports oxygen and nutrients around the entire part of the body? The cardiovascular system. Number 2, the cardiovascular system remove waste like carbon dioxide and other waste products from the tissues of the body. So the cardiovascular system is the one that is in charge of that. Aside removing carbon dioxide, right, like from the lungs, it also removes like your urea from the kidney. So cardiovascular system has a lot of functions that it carry out, but now it has to collaborate with other systems of the body in order to carry out these functions. And I'd like you to notice that the cardiovascular system maintains homeostasis. What does it do? It maintains homeostasis, the regulation of fairly constant internal environment in the body, right? And the overall physiological balance of an organism. All of these are handled carefully by the cardiovascular system. If you get that very fast, look at this question that was asked. The cardiovascular system consists of which 2 main components? What are the 2 main components of the cardiovascular system? Is it the heart and the lungs, or it is the heart and the blood vessels, or it is the brain and the spinal cord, or is the lungs and the kidney? It's not brain and spinal cord, it's not lung and kidney, it's not heart and lungs. What is it? The heart and the blood vessels. Option B is the answer. You have to pay. You see, very simple. There is nothing that is difficult about cardiovascular system. Anyway, this is just the introduction. Let's be going gradually. Now, please, what is it about the heart structure that they want us to note? You know, the cardiovascular system is all about the heart structure, the great vessels of the heart, and so on and so forth. Let's go gradually. Under the heart structure, I'd like you to note this, that the heart is a cone-shaped muscular pumping organ. 2 things have been disbursed there. Number 1, what's the shape of the heart? It is cone-shaped. That's number 1. So the heart is a cone-shaped, and number 2, it is a muscular pumping organ. So what is the heart? It is a cone-shaped muscular pumping organ. Again, a cone-shaped muscular pumping organ are approximately the size of a loosely clenched fist. What does it mean? Look at it. If I do my hand like this, I'm not tightening it like I want to deal somebody blow. This is my fist. I'm leaving it like loosely clenched. Are you seeing it now? So that is the size of my heart approximately. You do yours. That's the size of your own heart approximately. So we said that the heart is approximately the size of a loosely clenched fist. Are you seeing it now? So again, two things have disbursed here. The shape of the heart. The heart is what? Cone-shaped, and then it is a muscular pumping organ. How is it like? It is approximately the size of a loosely clenched fist. And then you must not forget this, that it functions as a double pump. How does it function? Double pump, maintaining blood circulation through the pulmonary and the systemic circuits. As we move, I will dwell deeper on this and shed more light on them. I'd like you to understand this. Look at this powerful question that was asked. The question says, which of the following best describes the heart shape and size? What we best describe is the shape of the heart as well as the size of the heart. Option A says it is oval shaped and about the size of human head. Wrong. Option B, it is cone shaped and about the size of a loosely clenched fist. Correct. Option C, cylindrical and about the size of the palm. No, it is spherical and about the size of tennis ball. What is the answer? Option B is the correct answer. The heart is cone-shaped and about the what? The size of a loosely clenched fist. We said that the heart is a cone-shaped muscular pumping organ that is about the size of a loosely what? Clenched fist. That makes option what be the answer. And you're out of there. No stress. Very easy. You get that very fast with me. What is the extent of the heart? I'd like you to pay attention. If we are asked about the extent of the heart, what do we say? Very simple. The heart extends from the level of the second rib. From the level of the where? Second rib to about the level of the sixth rib. That's where it extends through. From the level of the where? The second rib to the level of the sixth rib. And that region that the heart is called the cardiac region. What is it called? Cardiac region. Where does the heart extend from? It extends from the second rib to the sixth rib, right? And the region it is called the what? The cardiac region. Now look at this diagram very well. Let me analyze a couple of things for you. What can we see from here? This guy here, let me call here A. That part that I called A, that's called the what? The clavicle. This guy here is called the what? The clavicle. Now, aside the clavicle, this here is the first rib. This is the second rib. Show you see it now. The heart extends from the level of the where? Second rib. This is where it is stopping. So let's count and see. If that's the second rib, here is the third rib. Here is the fourth rib. Here is the fifth rib. And here is the what? Sixth rib. Show you see now. So the heart extends from the second rib to here, the sixth rib. And which region do we call this? This is called the what? The cardiac region. And don't forget this, that the heart is positioned slightly to the left of the midline within the thoracic cavity. Here is the left and here is the right part of the body. The left and here is the right. Where is the heart towards? It is slightly towards the left of the midline, right? This is the midline, like the sternum now. As you can take that sternum now as the landmark for the midline as you are coming down like this. So it is slightly towards the way, the left of the midline within the thoracic what cavity. If you get that very fast, two things you should know from here very quickly. Where is the heart? The heart is in the way, the cardiac region. From where to where? Between the level of the way, the second rib to the sixth rib. That's all you're out of there. Another important thing very quickly you must know is this particular question, because if you fail it, I will not do. The question says, between which ribs does the human heart extend? Of course, you know the answer. Option A, say first to fourth rib. No. Option B, second to sixth rib. Correct. Third to seventh, fourth to eighth. What is the answer? Second to sixth rib. Option 1B. And you're out of there. Very simple. Get that very fast with me. What is the location of the heart? Where is it located specifically? My heart, see and here, it dey my chest. It dey my chest. Just the play. Look at this very quickly. What's the location? The heart is located in the thoracic what? Cavity. Where is the thoracic cavity? So this region here is what we call the thoracic cavity, right? Between the lungs. So in between the lungs, we have the right lungs and the left lung. In between them, that's where the heart is, right? And that space in between the lungs is called the where? The mediastinum. What is it called? The mediastinum. Are you seeing it now? And don't forget this, that the heart lies underneath the sternum. You know, the breastbone is called the sternum. So if I remove breastbone, what will I see there? I'll see the what? The heart. So the heart lies underneath the where? The sternum, the one we call the what? The breastbone, slightly towards the where? The left. We have analyzed this, right? It is towards the left. And rests on the what? The diaphragm inferiorly. So this is the region where the diaphragm is. The heart is resting on top of the what? Diaphragm. So inferiorly, what do we have there? The diaphragm. Again, where is the location of the heart? In the thoracic cavity, right? In the space that's in between the two lungs. And that's what we call the what? The mediastinum. If you get this very fast and you understand it to the core, another important thing is this. Look at this question here. The question says the heart is located in which part of the thoracic cavity? Option A says the pleural cavity, the pericardium, the peritoneum, the mediastinum. What's the answer? Mediastinum option. What is the answer? It cannot be peritoneum, it cannot be pericardium, it's not the pleural cavity. As I'm moving, you see that all these terms, right? These medical terms will become acclimatized to you and you know them to the core like that. You get this very fast. What are the boundaries of the heart? What's the boundary? The boundaries of the heart. If they ask you the boundaries of the heart, number one, laterally, that's side by side at the two sides. What do we have there? The lungs, right? So here is the left lung, here is the what? The right lung, and here is the what? The heart. So laterally, the heart is bounded by the lungs, the right and the left lungs, respectively. The next thing is posteriorly at the back. So posteriorly, what do we have there? It is the vertebral column. So posteriorly, the heart is bounded by the vertebral column. The next is called anteriorly. That's in front. Anteriorly, what is it? It is the breastbone or the sternum. So anteriorly, the heart is bordered or bounded by the sternum. And then we have what is called superiorly. Superiorly, that's at the top, right? It is the great vessels of the what? Heart. What do we call it? Great vessels of the heart, superiorly. And then inferiorly, which one is that? Diaphragm. You already know that. Diaphragm. This here is the diaphragm. The diaphragm is the muscular, is this muscle that you have. It's a dome-shaped muscular structure. This is the what? The diaphragm. That's all. So what are the boundaries of the heart? How many boundaries? There are 5. You must know them to the core. Laterally by the lungs, posteriorly, which is the back, by the what? The vertebral column, right? Anteriorly in front by the what? The sternum. Superiorly, the great vessels of the heart. Inferiorly, it is the what? The diaphragm. If you get it very fast, you are out of there. No stress, no time to check time. Look at this question. The question, not the way, is what structure, which structure form the posterior boundary of the heart? The posterior boundary of the heart. What is it? Is it the lungs? That's laterally. The lungs are lateral. Sternum is what? Anteriorly, right? The diaphragm is what? Inferiorly. Then the vertebral column. What is it that the vertebral column will form? It is what? Posterior. So posteriorly, what do we have there? Vertebral column. And they're asking us the posterior boundary there. That makes option what? D, the correct what? Answer. What about superiorly? Superiorly, it is the great vessels of the what? The heart. And you're out of there. If you get this very fast with me, what is the size of the heart? See here, my heart is big. What's the size? The size varies whether in adulthood or at birth. At birth, the size of the heart, what is it like? Let me give you the dimension of certain things you should know. At birth, number one, the length of the heart is 25 millimeters at birth. The length is what? 25 millimeters. You know, the heart is small at birth. The length, 25. And then the width, 25 millimeters. Millimeters is what you have there. And then the breadth, 25 millimeters. So the length, the breadth, the width, all of them are what? 25 what? Millimeters, right? The only different thing there is the what? The weight. What's the weight there? 20 grams. So the weight at birth is what? 20 grams at birth. The size of the heart at birth is different from in adulthood. Your L, that the length, the breadth, the width, 25 millimeters. The weight is what? 20 grams. Okay, what about in adulthood? What's the size of the heart in adulthood? Let me give you the dimensions. The length is 12.5 centimeters. It has moved from 25 millimeters. It is now in centimeters, 12.5 centimeters. What about the width? It is 9 centimeters. What about the depth? It is 5 centimeters. And the weight is what? And that's your 250 grams to what? 350 grams. That's the weight. You know, it has moved from 20 grams to times 10, right? Or even more. 250 grams to what? 350 grams in what? Adulthood. Very simple. You get this very fast with me. What are the chambers of the heart? Chambers. If they ask you the chambers of the heart, how many chambers of the heart do we have? First, the heart consists of how many chambers? 4 chambers. What are the chambers there? Number 1 here is the right atrium. What is it called? The right atrium. Here is the right ventricle. Here is the left atrium. And here is the what? The left ventricle. So these are the 4 chambers of the heart. But take note that the 4 chambers are made up of 2 atria. So the upper part, the right atrium and the left atrium, they form the upper chamber of the what? The heart. So the upper chamber of the heart has 2 atria. And what is their function? They receive blood. Please, what is the function of your atrium or the atria? They receive blood. Don't forget that. They are the ones that receive blood. What about the other 2 chambers? They are the what? The 2 ventricles, which are the lower chamber, the right ventricle and the left ventricle. What do? They pump blood away from the heart. The atriums or the atria, they receive blood to the heart. The ventricles, they pump blood away from the heart. If you get that and you understand the concept, the next thing very quickly is this. The right chamber of the heart, which one is right chamber of the heart? Here is the right atrium and here is the what? The right ventricle. Both the right atrium and the right ventricle, they form the right chamber of the heart. The left atrium and the left ventricle form the left chamber of the heart. You know, we have the upper chamber and the lower chamber. Upper chamber is atrium, atrium. That's the 2 atria there. Ventricle, ventricle, lower chamber. But the right chamber and the left chamber, what we separate them is the what? The septum. As we move, I'll show you all of these things. But now, the right atrium and the right ventricle, they will form the right chamber. Now, but there's another thing in addition. We have number 1, the right atrium. Number 2, when we say right chamber, always remember this. There's what is called your fossa ovalis. What is it called? The fossa ovalis. Fossa what? Ovalis. And then there is what? Your right ventricle. You know, we have right atrium, right ventricle. On the right chamber, on the left chamber, there are 2. What and what there? The left atrium, left ventricle. That's all. The only thing we have added here is the what? The fossa ovalis. Because as I move, I'll be talking about fossa ovalis very, very well. But I'd like you to understand something here. You can see from this diagram here, we have highlighted the patent foramen ovale. So there is foramen ovale and there is fossa ovalis. What's the differences? Come here. So we have fossa ovalis and the what? Foramen ovale. Now, in a newborn baby, or maybe let's say in a fetus that is developing, right? We have the what? The foramen ovale. In a developing fetus, there is foramen ovale. Not newborn baby, a developing fetus. There is foramen ovale. Now, what does the foramen ovale do? The foramen ovale helps to bypass the blood that should go to the lungs. Oh yes. But now, when the baby is now born, the foramen ovale, right, is now being replaced. It's sealed up or closed up. And what you have there is what? Your fossa ovalis. It now forms the fossa ovalis. So fossa ovalis is the remnant of foramen ovale. If you don't catch it yet, don't worry, I'll show you. But please, the right chamber of the heart, how many things there? 3. The right atrium, the fossa ovalis, the right ventricle. The left chamber is the left atrium and then the what? The left ventricle. Let's get down to business very quickly. The first here is the right atrium. Here is your right atrium, right? Here is your what? Your right ventricle. Let's dwell on right atrium. The right atrium forms the right border of the heart. What forms the right border of the heart? Right atrium. It forms the what? The right border of the heart. That's number 1. Number 2, the right atrium, we always receive deoxygenated blood. What will you receive? Deoxygenated blood. Where is that deoxygenated blood coming from? 2 major areas there. This is your what? Your SVC. What's SVC there? Superior vena cava. This is your IVC, inferior vena cava. The superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava, both of them will empty themselves into the right atrium. The right atrium, that's why we say that it receives deoxygenated blood, because the superior vena cava carries deoxygenated blood from the upper part of the body. Inferior vena cava carries deoxygenated blood from the lower part of the body. Both of them will empty it into the right atrium. So right atrium receives what? Deoxygenated blood from the systemic circuit. What's the systemic circuit there? The body tissues, whether upper part of the body, lower part of the body. And how do they receive it? They receive it from the superior vena cava. Superior vena cava will carry deoxygenated blood from the upper part of the body. Now, the second thing there is the inferior vena cava. Inferior vena cava will carry deoxygenated blood from the lower part of the body. And the third one is your coronary sinus. Coronary sinus will carry deoxygenated blood from the heart itself. So the heart is supplying every part of the body, but what is supplying the heart itself? What will drain deoxygenated blood from the heart itself? If you come to the coronary sinus, just catch this. Now, what are the things that will empty themselves into the right atrium? Number one, the superior vena cava, SVC. Number two, the inferior vena cava, IVC. And then the coronary sinus. So what does the right atrium receive? Is it oxygenated blood or deoxygenated blood? Deoxygenated blood. Are you getting it now? There's nothing that is advanced. You better pay attention. You're not a medic. So know these things like die. Let's go. Now, what does the right atrium form? Right atrium form the right border of the heart. If you get that very fast, don't forget this, that the right atrium is connected to the right ventricle through the tricuspid valve, through the tricuspid valve. So here is the right atrium, here is the right ventricle. This valve that is here, what do we call it? It is called the tricuspid valve. Another name for tricuspid valve, from the name tricuspid, that means it has three cups, right? Three cups. That's the tricuspid valve there. Now, it is also called the right atrioventricular valve. So the tricuspid valve is an atrioventricular valve because it is in between the atrium and the ventricle. That's why we call it atrioventricular valve. Are you getting it now? These things must be inside of you very, very well. Again, give me a quick rundown through the right atrium. Right atrium forms the right border of the heart. Number one, right atrium receives deoxygenated blood from the systemic circuit through three channels: superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, and then the coronary sinus. And then the right atrium drains its content into the right ventricle through the tricuspid valve, right? Or the right atrioventricular valve. If you get that very fast, no stress, you're out of there. Another thing very quickly is the fossa ovalis. What is it called? The fossa ovalis. Now pay attention. This depression here is what we call the fossa ovalis. What is it called? The fossa ovalis. So what is fossa ovalis? Fossa ovalis is a depression in the interatrial septum. So the septum between the two atrium, right? The right atrium and the left atrium. What do we call it? The interatrial septum. That depression in the interatrial septum, which is the wall between the atria, that depression there is called the fossa ovalis. Are you getting it now? And don't forget that the fossa ovalis is a remnant of the foramen ovale. I showed the foramen ovale. Fossa ovalis is a remnant, right? Instead of it to go away, it has gone. Oh, the foramen ovale has gone, but it left some markings to show that I was here before. That thing that it left behind is now what we call the fossa ovalis. So in a fetus, right? If you look at the heart of a fetus, especially between the right atrium and the left atrium, let's say here is the right atrium, here is the left atrium, right? Between them, there is a passage. Are you getting it? And that passage is called the foramen ovale. So that foramen ovale is a fetal structure that allows blood to bypass the lungs. So before birth, because the lungs are not yet developed. And because they are not developed, what happened? They cannot carry out their function. They cannot help in respiration. So we need to bypass the blood that is going to the lungs totally. It's more like a shunt mechanism, right? And what is doing that is the foramen ovale in fetus. So as the baby develops, right? It begins to close gradually. And as the baby is born, what happened? The lungs are forced to carry out their function. As they carry out their function, there is no longer need for foramen ovale. What is now the remnant of the foramen ovale that we see there is the fossa what ovalis. You get that very quickly with me, and you understand it. Look at this diagram very quickly. Yeah, this opening there, what do we call it? It is the foramen what ovale. That foramen ovale is now replaced by this remnant that we have here, which is called the what? Fossa ovalis. So that is the word, the fossa ovalis. If you get that very quickly with me, that means you understand this and you now know it. And please, again, here is your foramen ovale. Yes, your foramen ovale. Where is it at? It is between the right atrium and the what? The left atrium. That's where you have the word, the foramen what? Ovale. Are you getting it? It's now being replaced by the what? The fossa ovalis. Another thing we're going to look at now is the where? The right ventricle. So here is the right atrium and here's the where? The right ventricle. Are you ready? Well, let's rock it together. So what's the first thing that we should know about the right ventricle? The first thing you must hold tight about the right ventricle is this. The right ventricle receives blood from the right atrium via the tricuspid valve. So here now, right, what do we have here? This, right, is more like the what? The tricuspid valve. As we move, I'll show you a lot of things. So the valve is in between, like the two of them, between the right atrium and the what? The right ventricle. This is the right ventricle there. So the valve that is there is called the what? The tricuspid valve. That's number one thing you must know. And again, does the right atrium carry oxygenated blood or deoxygenated blood? It carries deoxygenated blood. That's what it carries. Are you seeing it now? And don't forget that the right ventricle, right, has internal structures. What does it have? Internal structures. This is where you must pay attention now and know these things to the core. What are the internal structures in the right ventricle? There are three of them you must pay attention to. The first is called the trabeculae carneae. What is it called? The trabeculae carneae. So the trabeculae carneae is in the right ventricle. It is a muscular ridge on the internal walls of the right ventricle. What is it called? The trabeculae what? Carneae. Come with me. Look into this area very well. These guys here are the what? The trabeculae carneae. What is it? The trabeculae carneae. So the trabeculae carneae, what are they? They are the muscular ridge on the internal walls of the right ventricle. That's number one. Number two are the papillary muscles. What are they? The papillary muscles. Papillary muscles are muscular projections that anchor the valve leaflets. Which valve will they anchor? The valve that they will anchor is called the what? The tricuspid valve. That's what they will anchor. You know, your tricuspid valve is around this region, right? These guys are the what? These guys I'm picking out. All these guys I'm picking out now. What are they called? The papillary muscles. So those papillary muscles, they are the ones that anchor the tricuspid valve. What valve? They hold tricuspid valve in place. And then the third thing we must know is called the cordial tendinae. What is it called? The cordial what? Tendinae. Cordial tendinae. They are cord-like tendons. Cordial tendinae. Cord-like tendons. Right? They are fibrous cords connecting papillary muscles to the what? The tricuspid valves. Now, come with me. Let me show you something. You see these whitish guys here like this. All these guys you are seeing here that forms like all those tendons like this, right? What are they? They are the cordial tendinae. That's the cordial tendinae. So, give me the three things that you must know in the right ventricle. Number one are the trabeculae carneae. Number two are the papillary muscles. And then number three are the what? The cordial tendinae. If you get this and you know it to the core, that's all. That's about the right ventricle. So right ventricle receives what? Deoxygenated blood from the right atrium, right? It's receiving it from the right atrium via the what? The tricuspid valve. And then the internal structure of the right ventricle has three things: the trabeculae carneae, the papillary muscles, and the what? The cordial tendinae. If you get that very quickly with me, please. Again, the right ventricle, what will it do? The right ventricle needs to pump the blood that has entered. Here is the right ventricle. Any blood that has entered into the right ventricle, what will it do? It has to pump it through the pulmonary circuit, right? Through the pulmonary semilunar valve into the pulmonary trunk. Better come and pay attention. You see this guy in blue here? This is called the pulmonary trunk. The pulmonary trunk will bifurcate into the right and the left pulmonary artery. This guy here is the what? The left pulmonary artery. This guy here is the what? The right pulmonary artery. So the pulmonary trunk is like big artery that I'm bifurcating into two, the right and the left pulmonary what? Artery. Are you seeing it now? But now look at this very quickly. This is your right ventricle, right? Now, in that right ventricle, there is another valve that we can see there. What's that valve called? It is called the pulmonary semilunar valve. What is it called? The pulmonary what? Semilunar valve. That's how we say that the right ventricle pumps blood into the pulmonary circuit. Pulmonary circuit means that the blood is going to the lungs. It pumps blood right into the pulmonary circuit through the pulmonary semilunar valve into the pulmonary trunk, and this is the pulmonary trunk that leads to the way to the lungs. Don't stress, I'll show you these things. Come with me, let me show you something lovely. Look at this diagram, understand something here. Here is your what? Your right atrium. Here is your what? Your right ventricle, Abi. And here is the what? The tricuspid valve. So tricuspid valve is between the right atrium and the right ventricle. Here is your what? Your pulmonary trunk, right? Beautiful. So between the right ventricle and the pulmonary trunk, there is another valve there. What is it called? The pulmonary semilunar valve. If you get that very fast and you understand it to the core, let's draw the right chamber of the heart so that I will ensure you know it. Come with me. I told you that blood from the upper part of the body, where are they going to flow through? Superior vena cava. Blood from the lower part of the body, where are they going to flow through? Inferior vena cava. So both the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava, they will empty their contents into the where? The right atrium. Just understand this with me. Let me just draw anything that you will understand first. This is the way. Let's say this is the right atrium that they will empty themselves into. Now, here is the what? The superior vena cava. Here is the what? The inferior vena what? Cava. Are you seeing it now? So their contents, right? This guy is coming like this. This guy is coming like this. Where are they going to empty their content into? Into the where? The right what? Atrium is what they will empty themselves into. Right atrium. So if they empty themselves into the right atrium, at this side now, what do we now have here? This is another big another chamber of the heart here. But which chamber is this? Here is the way, the right ventricle. So let's call here right ventricle. Note this to the core. So if this is the right ventricle, in between the right atrium and the right ventricle, there is a valve that is here, right? There is a valve that is here. So which valve is this guy here? What do we call that valve? It is called the what? The right atrioventricular valve, or the what? The tricuspid valve. Tricuspid. Or the what? Right atrioventricular valve. That's what we have there. So the tricuspid valve is also called the what? The right atrioventricular valve. So if the blood leaves the right atrium, it will flow through the tricuspid valve or the right atrioventricular valve and come and enter into the where? Right ventricle. Now, if the blood want to leave the right ventricle, it needs to flow up through a big trunk, right? What is it called? It is called the pulmonary trunk. So let me call this your pulmonary trunk. That's what we have there. And don't forget that as the pulmonary trunk goes up, it will go and bifurcate into two, right? It will go and bifurcate into two. What and what will it bifurcate into? This is the left pulmonary artery, and here is the what? The right pulmonary what? Artery. So the pulmonary trunk will bifurcate into the left and the right pulmonary artery respectively. But now here is the catch. Between the right ventricle, no, here is right ventricle, and the pulmonary trunk, there is another valve that we have there. This valve here is a semilunar valve. Semilunar valve. What do we call that? It is, it's in the pulmonary region, right? Pulmonary. So what do we call that? The pulmonary semilunar what? Valve. That's what we have. So if you get this mental picture, you understand the diagram of the right chamber of the heart to the core. Are you seeing it now? Again, the superior vena cava, the inferior vena cava, as well as the coronary sinus, they will empty the oxygenated blood into the where? The right atrium. As it's empty into the right atrium will carry it and push it to the what? Right ventricle, but through the where? Through the tricuspid valve or the right atrioventricular valve. When the blood gets to the right ventricle will push it through the pulmonary trunk, Abi. But between the right ventricle and the pulmonary trunk, there is another valve there. What is it called? The pulmonary semilunar valve. So as the blood gets to the pulmonary trunk bifurcates into two, the right and the left pulmonary artery. So the right and the left pulmonary artery now, we carry the blood into the where? The lungs. So this is where we have the lungs. This now is where we have the what? The lungs. So they are carrying that blood all the way to the right and the left lungs respectively. So I don't need to ask you, you should know that this is the left lungs and this is the what? Your right lungs. Are you seeing it now? Very simple, easy and direct. Play this over and again. You see that it's very cheap. You're out of there. You get this very fast with me and you understand it. Answer this question for us. The question says, which chamber of the heart receives deoxygenated blood from the body? Anything deoxygenated blood, it is the right chamber of the heart. But which of them in particular? Is it the left atrium? It can't be left. It is not left. Anything left cannot be the answer. It is always right. Left cannot be the answer. The one that receives deoxygenated blood is the right. So is it the right atrium or the right ventricle? Of course, the right atrium is what we receive it and then now send it to the right ventricle. So right atrium option what B is the answer. So that deoxygenated blood that is coming to the right atrium, where is it coming through? It is coming through three things. Number one, the superior vena cava. Number two, the inferior vena cava. And then number three is the coronary sinus. Coronary sinus. So these are the three things that is bringing it in. If you get this very fast and you understand it to the core, get out. You too much. You get this. Now that you understand that, look at this question 7 here. The question says, the fossa ovalis. You know fossa ovalis is different from foramen ovale. What is fossa ovalis? Fossa, like depression. Fossa ovalis is different from foramen like canal. So fossa ovalis, the fossa ovalis in the right atrium is a remnant of which fetal structure? Option A says foramen ovale. Yes. Option B says ductus arteriosus. It is not ductus arteriosus. It is not ductus venosus. It is not umbilical cord. What is the answer? Foramen ovale. Option what? A. And you are out of there. No stress. Yes, Peter, talk to me. Now that you get that, look at this powerful question here. They brought out and then they picked out a couple of things. The question says, which of the labeled parts is the right atrium? Yeah. Which one? Is it 1, 2, is it 4 or 7? So 1 there first. Let's name all of them. What's 1 there? 1, right, is this guy here, superior vena cava. This guy here is what? Inferior vena cava, right? Simple. So what is 4? 4 is right atrium, right? 4 is right atrium. Yes, your right ventricle, but it is not right ventricle they are picking here. They are picking the wall, right? That muscular layer, the wall of the what? Right ventricle is what was picked there. What is 2? 2 is the left, is the pulmonary artery that is going to the lungs, right? To the left lungs. So what's that? 2 is your left pulmonary artery. Left pulmonary artery. This guy here is your right pulmonary artery. This guy is the pulmonary trunk. 7 is your what? Your pulmonary semilunar valve. Shall you see how I'm naming those things? Hey, come and tell me rubbish now. I go feel not you. Now, the question say, which of the labeled parts is the right atrium? Which one is the right atrium? Get out. 4. Option C is the answer. You're out of there. Oh, they want me. Now, look at this very quickly. What about 3? 3 is the left atrium. 3 is the left atrium, right? Yes, left atrium is 3. And then 5, you can see it is the muzzle of the what? Right ventricle. The left ventricle. The muzzle of the left ventricle is what 3 is. And you can see that that's is what 5 is. 5 is the muzzle of the left ventricle. And you can see that 5 is thicker than 6. As you get there, I'll show you why. Because it pumps blood more forcefully at a higher pressure. If you get that very quickly with me and you understand this to the point, please answer this question for me. Question 9. The question is, what is the part marked X in the diagram? The part that we mark X, what is it? The pulmonary trunk. That's what we have there. Option A say pulmonary artery, B say pulmonary vein, vena cava, main aorta. It is not aorta. This guy here is the aorta. This guy here is the aorta. As we move, we'll look at it very, very well. But that's not it, right? Okay, if it's not aorta, it is not pulmonary vein, it's not aorta, it's not vena cava. What is the answer? Pulmonary artery. But the real name there is what? Pulmonary trunk. Are you seeing it now? If you get that option A, we choose it like that, and then we'll get out of there. Now that you understand this very quickly with me, that means we are done with the right chamber of the heart. Right chamber, we are done. We have looked at right atrium, fossa ovalis, right ventricle, right? Good. The next thing is the left chamber of the heart. So what is it about the left chamber of the heart? The left chamber of the heart has 2 things, the left atrium and the left ventricle. Are you ready with me? And don't forget that before anything we come to the left chamber of the heart, that thing has to be oxygenated. Just know that. Oxygenated. That's the first thing. These guys here, they are what? Deoxygenated. How come these guys are oxygenated? You see this deoxygenated guy, they have gone to the lungs to go and receive oxygen. After they've been oxygenated, they will now come and flow through the left chamber of the heart. Are you getting it now? So let's go. So in the left chamber of the heart, the first thing there is the left atrium. So here is your left atrium. Now, what is it about the left atrium? Number one, the left atrium forms the posterior surface of the heart. What does it form? The posterior surface of the heart is the left atrium. Number two, the left atrium receives oxygenated blood. It does not receive deoxygenated, no, oxygenated blood, because that blood that has gone to the lungs, right, via the pulmonary trunk to the pulmonary artery has now received oxygen. As the blood is coming, it will now flow through the pulmonary veins. So here's your pulmonary vein. Here's another pulmonary vein. Don't forget this is I'm showing you. So the pulmonary veins, they carry, listen carefully. All arteries carry oxygenated blood except what? Pulmonary artery, because pulmonary artery will carry deoxygenated blood to the lungs. All veins carry deoxygenated blood except what? Pulmonary veins, because pulmonary veins will carry oxygenated blood to the heart. Veins to the heart. Veins will carry blood to the heart. Arteries will carry blood away from the heart. That's it. So now, what happened in the left atrium? They receive oxygenated blood from the lungs via the pulmonary veins. That's the first thing there. Second thing you must know is this: it opens that left atrium, right? It opens into the left ventricle. Yes, your left ventricle. Through what? Through the mitral valve. Come with me. Number one, mitral valve, right? What is it also called? It's also called the bicuspid valve. What is it called? The bicuspid. So another name for the bicuspid valve is the mitral valve. It is also called the left atrioventricular valve. These are the names. Either we call it the mitral valve or the bicuspid valve or the left atrioventricular valve. That's it. So the left atrium, I've given you three things there. Number one, it forms the posterior surface of the heart. Number two, it receives oxygenated blood through the pulmonary vein. And then number three, it opens into the left ventricle through the mitral valve or the bicuspid valve or the left atrioventricular valve. That's it. You're out of there. No time. If you get this very quickly with me and you understand it to the core, please, what about the left ventricles? What should you know about the left ventricles? Number one, the left ventricle forms the apex of the heart. Some people, they know the hear word. They know the hear word. They know the hear word. I don't understand the meaning of they know the hear word. They know the hear word means they don't listen. Are you seeing it now? So the left ventricle, they form the apex. Left ventricle is what forms the apex of the heart. So here now, this side, you see how it's formed like curve like that, right? That's the apex. It's at the left ventricle side. And don't forget this quickly with me. Number two, it contains the trabecular cardiac. Same thing you have in the right ventricle. It's also in the left ventricle. The trabecular cardiac, number one. Number two is the papillary muscle. And then number three is the caudate tendon. These guys here are the trabecular cardiac. The trabecular cardiac there. These guys here now are the the papillary muscles. And then these guys here are the caudate tendon. That's all. No stress. Easy, cheap, and direct. Another thing you must know is this, that the left ventricle pumps oxygenated blood. What does it pump? Oxygenated blood into the systemic circuit through the aortic semilunar valve. Now come with me. This guy is the aorta, right? But between your left ventricle and the aorta is a valve called the aortic semilunar valve. Right? So that aortic semilunar valve now leads to the aorta. And the aorta is very, very big, subsequently to all part of the body. So the largest artery in the body is the aorta. Let me not stress you. Come, let me tell you something lovely here. Now, how do we draw the left chamber of the heart? When we come to the left chamber of the heart, what do we have there? Now, don't forget, as the blood is coming in, right, where will it come through? It will come through the pulmonary veins. So let's call this your your pulmonary veins. Pulmonary veins. So as the pulmonary vein bring the blood, where will it flow into? It will flow into the left atrium. So here is the left atrium. From the left atrium, where is the blood going to? The blood will move down and come into the the left ventricle. So here is the what? The left ventricle. But don't forget, please, that between the left atrium and the left ventricle, there is also a valve that is there. Why is that valve called? What do we call this guy? It is called the bicuspid valve. What do we call it? The bicuspid valve, or the what? The mitral valve. Either you call it the bicuspid valve or the mitral valve, or the left atrioventricular valve. That's what we call it. So if the blood leaves the pulmonary vein, where will it come to? It will come to the where? To the left atrium. From the left atrium, where will it flow through? Through the bicuspid valve or the mitral valve or the left atrioventricular valve, and then flow into the where? The left ventricle. From that left ventricle now, that blood needs to find its way and be pumped into the where? Into the aorta. So as this guy is going up to go and form that big artery that we call the aorta, right? Don't forget that between the left atrium, this guy here is the what? Aorta. What is it called? Aorta. Between the left ventricle and the aorta is a valve. What do we call that valve there? It is called your what? Aortic semilunar valve. So what do we call it? Aortic semilunar valve. What do we call it? Aortic semilunar what? Valve. That's the answer or the name. So, want to go, give me the flow of blood, right, all through. Number one, the pulmonary vein carries oxygenated blood from the lungs, right, from the right and the left lungs respectively. And then it pushes it into the where? The left atrium. The left atrium will move the blood into the left ventricle. Between the left atrium and the left ventricle is a valve called the bicuspid valve or the mitral valve or the left atrioventricular valve. So when the blood gets to the left ventricle need to pump the blood forcefully, right, through the aorta. But from that left ventricle, there is valve between the left ventricle and the aorta. What is it called? The aortic semilunar valve. That's the answer. If you watch, altogether giving you 4 valves. 2 of them are aortic semilunar valve and 2 are semilunar valves. What are the aortic semilunar valves there? Number 1 is called the right and the aortic, the atrioventricular valves. What are the 2 atrioventricular valves there? Number 1 is the right atrioventricular valve, also called the tricuspid valve. Number 2 is the left atrioventricular valve, also called the what? The mitral valve or the what? The left atrioventricular valve. Are you seeing it now? So these are the ventricular valves that we have 2. The semilunar valves are 2. The pulmonary semilunar valve and the aortic semilunar valve. If you get this very fast, no stress, you're out of there. Very simple, cheap, easy, and direct. Now that you get this to the core, right? Please answer this question for me. The question here says, which valve separate the left atrium from the left ventricle? Give me the name. It is either you call it the left atrioventricular valve or the what? The mitral valve or the what? The bicuspid what? Valve. That's the 3 names. Any of them. Option A says the tricuspid valve. No. Pulmonary valve. No. Aortic valve. No. What is the answer? Mitral valve. Option D is the answer. You're out of there. Simple. You get that very fast with me. The next is called the septa of the what? Heart. Better pay attention very quickly. Which one is the septa of the heart? Septa. You have heard of septum of the heart. What is it? Come with me very quickly. The septas, this guy here is septa. So you see, what divides the right chamber from the left chamber of the heart is the septa or the septum of the heart. And the septa or the septum of the heart, there are 2. The first one is called the what? The interatrial septum. What is it called? The interatrial septum, from the name interatrial, in between the atrium, right? The right atrium and the left atrium, in between the 2 atria. So we have the interatrial septum. It separates the right and the left atria. So here, right, at this side here, the right atria, here, the left atria or the left atrium, right? What we separate them, you can see that this tiny guy is what is coming to separate them. What do we call that there? It is called the interatrial septum. That's the first thing there. The second one is called the interventricular septum. That's number 2. Interventricular septum, from the name ventricular. It separates the right and the left what? Ventricle. So this guy is the interventricular septum. This guy is the what? Interatrial septum. Very simple, easy, and direct. And you can see that out of the 2, let me show you again so that you see it very well, so that I don't see ISR, I do not see it well. From the 2 of them, you can see something that one is thick, the other one is thin. That thin one is more like membranous. So the upper one is the thin one, and it is what? Membranous. And because it is membranous, that's the interatrial what? Septum. It is membranous, it is thin. So this guy here is what we are talking about. It is thin, it is membranous. And the lower part is what? Muscular. The lower part is muscular. And that muscular one is what? The interventricular what? Septum. Does it make sense? So these are the two septum. The interatrial septum, we separate the right and the left atrium, right? And then it is membranous. Then the interventricular septum, we separate the right and the left ventricles. And then it is what? Muscular. These are the septums of the heart. You're out of them, no stress. Very, very fast. Please take note that the heart acts as a double pump. Oh yes, so how does it act as double pump? Number one is as pulmonary circuit. From the name pulmonary, anything that moves blood from the heart to the lungs and back to the heart again, that's pulmonary circulation. So what should you know there? It carries deoxygenated blood, right? To and from the what? Lungs, deoxygenated blood. That's it there. So anything in charge of deoxygenated blood, right? And majorly, which chamber of the heart is that one concerned with? It is the right chamber of the heart. So the pulmonary circuit. And again, don't forget that the right side of the heart undoes this pulmonary what? Circulation, because the right part of the heart carry deoxygenated blood to the heart, right? Beautiful. Anything that carry deoxygenated blood is the what? The pulmonary circulation. And then the other is the systemic circulation. What does it do? It carries oxygenated blood to and from the what? The body tissues. And that is more like the what? The left side of the heart. So the left side of the heart is in charge of systemic circulation. The right side of the heart is in charge of what? Your pulmonary what? Circulation. Simple. You are out of there. You are not stressing. You get that very quickly with me. Answer this question for us. The question says, which statement correctly differentiates the systemic and the pulmonary circuit? Which statement correctly differentiates the two of them? Option A, the pulmonary circuit carries oxygenated blood. Pulmonary, anything to the lungs, pulmonary, it carries deoxygenated. So A cannot be the answer. Sure, you see now, A cannot be the answer. Option B says, pulmonary circuits operate on the left side. No, pulmonary is on the right, not on the left. So B cannot still be the answer. A cannot be the answer. B cannot be the answer. Look at C. Pulmonary circuit carry deoxygenated blood. Yes, pulmonary circuit carry deoxygenated blood to the lungs. That's true. Systemic circuit carries oxygenated blood. True. Right? Oxygenated blood to the body. Very true. Look at option C. Pulmonary and systemic circuit both carry oxygenated blood to the lungs. That's wrong. What's the answer? Option what? C. You are out of there, but they want you. Simple, cheap, easy, direct. That's all. You get that very fast. Look at this powerful question. They say we should answer it whether it's true or it's false. True or false question. Let's go. The fossa ovalis. Fossa ovalis is a remnant of the foramen ovale. Correct. Correct. No need to think it twice. A fetal opening that allowed blood to pass from the right atrium to the right ventricle before birth. What's your answer? True, right? You are wrong. If you choose true, you are wrong. I feel like nodding you. Come with me. Fetal ovalis is a remnant of the foramen ovale. Is that part correct? Yes. I'm sure that it is a fetal opening. Is it a fetal opening? Yes. That allows blood to pass from the right atrium to the left atrium, not right ventricle. So it allows blood to pass from the way? Left atrium. The blood is shunting between the two atrium now, from the right atrium to the left atrium. So it is not right ventricle. Right ventricle is what makes this statement to be wrong. What is the answer? False. They want you. Look at this powerful question. Now look at this very fast before we go. This here is the what? The foramen ovale. This is the what? The right atrium. This is the what? Left atrium. So the foramen ovale, it allows the movement of blood between the right atrium and the left atrium. Nothing about the ventricles. Are you seeing it now? And then this depression here, this depression, then what do we call it? The fossa ovalis. You get that very quickly with me and you understand it to the core. Answer true or false for this question. The right ventricles pump oxygenated blood. Now, first reason it. Right ventricle. Will it pump oxygenated blood or it will pump deoxygenated blood? It will pump deoxygenated blood into the pulmonary trunk. It will not pump oxygenated blood, it will pump deoxygenated blood. So that statement is totally what? Wrong. That's false. You did that very fast. Answer this question for me. True or false? The question says the left ventricle forms the apex. Left ventricle, yes. It forms the apex of the heart, yes. And pumps oxygenated blood, yes. Into the aorta, yes. Through the aortic semilunar valve, yes. What is the answer? true is the correct answer. Get out. If you get this to the core and you are sure that you nailed it, guess what? That's everything about the heart structure that they want us to know from the beginning to the end. You see, this is the foundation of what builds you in cardiovascular system. If you get this very fast with me, don't forget that this class is brought to you by the Learn Lift app. And very importantly, go through your notes, CBT, past questions very, very well. And also, you are interested in scholarships, reach out to this contact. We're going to be attending to you. Have any challenge with the app, let us know. We will attend to you. The next class, we're going to look at the layers of the heart from the beginning to the end. There are a lot of things we're going to look at under the layers of the heart. And that forms about what? Lesson 2. For the now, bye.